Karina. Welcome back to Queso Lifestyles. A topic I wanted to talk to you today is about sugar. And I know that some people are, oh, sugar doesn't hurt you and stuff like that. And some people eat it consummately every day. I eat sugar once in a while, not that often. It's very excluded from my diet. But if you're going to go to a restaurant or something and have like a cake and ice cream or dessert or something, or you go to somebody else's house and they have sugar added to their stuff, you're going to consume sugar. It's there. It's always there. Just do it in moderation. But the reason why I chose not to feed sugar to my family is mostly because of Blake and for our health. So let me explain. There's been research. Some people will probably not agree with me. I mean, disclosure, I'm not a nurse, I'm not a doctor, not a scientist, but I have had a long time, years of reading about topics, try to make my son healthy, try to make sure that cancer doesn't come back, or even from just me and Matthew, just trying our best to keep ourselves happy and healthy and fit and try to do the best we can. I mean, Matthew's side of the family, there's disease like low blood pressure, there's heart attacks, there's other things. In my family, cancer's everywhere. Heart attacks in my family. A lot of people in my family are overweight. It is part of my family. Some people just can't help it. It's genetic, thyroid problems. There's all kinds of stuff on my side of the family. So for me, I'm trying my best to try to stay healthy, and I'm just trying to give some information I've learned out to you, try to help you out. So for me, I choose not to use sugar. When I consume sugar in my diet, I kind of feel sluggish. I feel tired. I don't feel like myself. I gain weight really, really quickly. And since I've had my daughter 18 years ago now, anytime I consume sugar in a lot, like in amounts, months after months after months, I gain weight really, really, really fast. So I have to try extra hard to try not to gain weight. And when I lose all the weight, 2 seconds later, I gain it all back. And I guess it's just part of women. I mean, a lot of women get like that. Some women have no problem with their weight. Some people do. I have a problem with my weight. I also live in Alberta. I mean, when winter comes, it becomes minus 30, minus 40. And kind of off topic, but it's dark and it's cold from pretty much September, October to the springtime is when the sun actually stays up longer than maybe less than 8 hours of the day. I mean, in the middle of December, it's already down by 4 p.m. So it's hard, and then you don't want to exercise, you don't want to eat properly, and you just do the comfort food because it's always so cold. So yeah, in Alberta, that's where I live, it takes quite a bit to try to stay healthy. But another reason we do it is for Blake. Blake had stage 4 cancer. And I'll do my next video, explains a lot more into detail about what neuroblastoma is. But right now, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about right now. So sugar and cancer. I've done some research. I've read some research. So you might disagree with me. That's what I'm choosing. Makes me feel good to help them out. When you have sugar and you have cancer, it's like giving a cancer cell a chocolate bar. It eats. And what does it do? It calls its buddies over and says, yeah, come on over. Let's eat all this sugar. And then it multiplies and multiplies and multiplies and gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Well, Blake had it stage 4, like I said 2 seconds ago. And it's scary for a parent. And the best thing I can do is try to help him out the best that I can so I don't feel so, but I can't do anything. A lot of times when Blake was in treatment, I felt like I couldn't do anything. And the best thing I could do as a mom, not a doctor, is do a pile of research about what I can put in his diet to help him out. So that's what we do. We choose not to feed sugar to Blake. If we do, there's all kinds of alternatives. I got 8 of them. I've researched them. I've read them online. Some things probably word for word, some things are not, because I tried my best to help you guys out. So one thing actually 2 things we mostly use in this house, maple sugar and stevia. That is actually 2 of the major artificial flavors that we use to help each other out. So maple syrup, we live in Canada. It's everywhere. I actually grew up in Quebec. in a small town called Two Mountains, Tang. And I remember in the fall time, we used to have a cabana sucre, which is the sugar shack, and they used to line up the syrup along the snow, and you roll it up with a stick. If you come from Quebec, you totally understand what that is. It's the best thing. But the benefits to maple syrup, there's no artificial flavors. It actually contains potassium, which is actually good for your blood and stuff. It has calcium, has sodium, and copper. A lot of things don't have copper, and it's actually really good for you. Stevia, if you see me looking down, I do have some notes down here. Stevia, the reason why we choose to use that, I realize it's very artificial, but it has no calories. And for me to try to keep my weight down, I try to reduce the calories that I have. I do replace the calories with like extra healthier things like natural fruits and stuff. So it's also great for coffee, tea, baking. When I make pancakes, I put stevia in it. Maple syrup all over it. I also bake with maple syrup a lot because I am plant-based. I like to call myself vegan, but some people might not agree with it because there has been products in my life that I use that is not purely vegan. So I like to call myself plant-based because I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. Because I know it's a lifestyle. It's a choice. It's something you believe in. So another thing that we do, so 1, maple syrup, 2, stevia, 3, agave syrup or nectar. It's like maple syrup. Maple syrup comes from a maple tree, and then sap comes out, you cook it up, and that's how you make it. So agave nectar is about the same. It's extracted the sap right from the plant. It's really good for you. It does the same thing, pretty much about the same benefits as maple syrup. Coconut sugar. Well, I use coconut sugar when I need to use brown sugar. It has like a toffee caramel flavor. It's really rich. It actually has the same measurements as brown sugar. So if you have 1 cup of brown sugar, 1 cup of coconut sugar, it's about the same thing. There's really no difference. It's low in glycemic index, meaning so when you eat regular sugar, it actually gives you a high and you go like you have super energy, pump, and then after that it burns you and then you fall and then you feel like all the energy is gone. Coconut sugar actually levels it out so you're not in that drop moment where you feel like, oh, I just felt like poop. Like literally, it's a terrible way of putting it, but you just feel like your energy's left you. Coconut sugar doesn't do that. It still gives you that pump up, but then it doesn't burn you down. Brown rice syrup. There's another one. It's not too sweet. It's free from fructose. It's gluten-free. It's good for baking. It's good for also cooking, and it's also good for beverages. I've actually made lemonade. Instead of using pure white sugar, I've used brown rice syrup. And actually, when you make like homemade lemonade, you gotta use the sugar syrup first, which you put sugar in the water and some lemon, and you would cook it up and breaks it down, and then you use that. I've actually used brown rice syrup, and I've done the same. Still the exact same way, put some water in it, and you put it in. Still do the same. Honey. That's where I come in, where I call myself plant-based, because vegans don't eat honey. I eat honey, and I don't want to hurt anybody's feelings, but for me, I believe honey has so much benefits, and I use it all the time. And it's not just good for cooking and like using it in your recipes and like stir fries and all kinds of lovely things. It actually has enzymes in it. It has vitamins. It does have minerals. It also has healing agents. If you sit there and you cut yourself, you can actually put a little bit of honey on it, and it'll use exactly the same way as if you're putting like medication for the cut. It does exactly the same thing. Also, coconut oil does the exact same thing as honey for that part. It has antibacterial. It actually has a probiotic in it. So any way you can get a probiotic in your diet is great. It's great for allergies. It's great for your skin. Some people use it as a skin mat, like a face mask, or if you're extra dry, or like a rash. It's really good for that. It also helps with colds. And I can actually stand behind it and say I've had a cold, and I've pretty much piled myself full of honey. And I found it's helped me, especially with a cough. But I actually use honey, going back to the healing agent, that when Blake actually gets a cut, I have actually put honey or coconut oil, which is not a sugar, but I've actually put that on as cuts or bruises or rashes, and I find it actually has helped to make them disappear. So another one. Date sugar or dates. I view dates all the time. I just soak them in water prior, like make sure they're really soak up the water, and then I put them in a blender. Then I cook with them. You can use them in brownies and cakes and puddings and all kinds of different things. I've used it all the time. And they actually make it down in sugar too, so you can, instead of having to soak it, you can just buy the sugar. It's the same thing. And then I have also regular fruits. Regular fruits are awesome. It's natural. It's right from the planet. It's right from the earth. You blend them up, or you chop it up and you put it right in. Great one. Apple pie. You just cut them up, throw them in. You don't need anything. Avocados, which is not a sugar, but the point is you can use natural things in your cooking and baking and regular stuff every day to substitute sugar and other medications and chemicals in your diet or in your life. There's other ways. So getting right back on top of sugar, I don't use it. I try not to use it. I can't say I've never had sugar in the last few months. I try to make sure it's out of my diet, make sure it's definitely out of Blake's diet, because I definitely don't want him to have it. And another thing I want to mention is that sugar doesn't give you cancer. Sugar makes you gain weight or get unhealthy, and that is what would give you the disease, or give you a heart problem, or give you whatever else is going to go on in your system. So that is my opinion. That is the stuff I've read. You agree with it, you agree with it. You don't. But I just wanted to help other people out there. And that are people that are going through, say, cancer itself, or a heart problem, or any other disease, or just maybe learning difficulties, disabilities. There's so much reasons why to cut sugar out of your diet. And I can go on probably for hours about this, but it really helps you out. You just try it for 10-15 days. You will notice your energy's up. You're less tired. And it's just best for you. So I want to sign off. And I think I've talked long enough about this. If you like my channel, welcome. And give me a thumbs up.